And if we hold Control, or sorry, if we hold L and move our mouse around, we could change the position of our light. And we can see the normal information of the pillar that we just brought in. And one thing that I want to do is change the diffuse color to get a better visual representation of what color this pillar is going to be. And I wanted to bring it into the like a desertish type red. So we'll just go with that. And another thing I want to do is use our emissive channel and I want to turn the emissive map off but leave the rim light on. And I could turn that power up to like 5 or 6. So remember when I said that there's some things that we might need to come back and change or add in, is right now we don't have the ability to change the color of our emissive backlight. So I could go ahead and do that now. So I'm going to go back into my master material here. I'm going to come over to our rim light. I'm going to expand this. But one thing that kind of sucks about this material right now is that it's tough to tell where everything is. So I'm just going to call this, add a new comment and call it rim light. And I'll call this emissive map, so I can distinguish quickly where certain functionality resides in my material network. So we're taking 0 and we're adding it into our diffuse, and we're multiplying that by intensity. But to enable color changing of this rim light, I'm just going to multiply it by a vector parameter, and we'll call it rim light color. And by default, I want to set that to a value of 1, so it'll just be white. And we'll compile that up. And if we were to close out our material instance and reopen it, it will have that rim light color functionality. So I can give it like a bluish backlighting. And if I want, I could even determine the lightness of it. And the only time that rim light intensity is going to become valuable for us is if we wanted to really blow that rim light color out and create a glow around our objects. But for right now, we'll just leave that intensity at something like 3. And we'll go ahead and bring this saturation down and the value down just a little bit, so we have a tiny bit of a glow going on, and that just accentuates the normal map pretty nicely. If we wanted to explore the functionality of our material further, we could play with the specular intensity and specular power sliders. I could bring the specular power up to 20 and the specular intensity down to like 0.2 to give it a stone-like appearance. And we could also test out our detail normal map stuff here. So we could turn that on and we start to get like little dots But one thing we have to do is really increase this amount, because if you remember, the texture map is 64 by 64 and our normal map is 1024 by 1024. So that's almost 4 times, actually 8 times as much. So bringing it to a value of 8 will actually spread it across that 1024 by 1024 area. So really we should be multiplying 8 by whatever number we want this to tile by. So if we wanted to tile 5 times, we have to do this by like 40. So when you get really close, that's when the detail map starts to show up. So we have this detail map, and the tiling is apparent, but remember, we're using a detail normal that is just a base texture that we made for visualization purposes. So what the ideal thing would be to do is to plug a stone material in here, or like a stone detail material, and that'll really help this statue or this pillar hold up when it's actually in game. So let's just turn that off for now. And we can test out things like height map once we have a tiling BSP material that we want to use a parallax map with. Also, we don't have a diffuse map to test right now, but we could go ahead and bring in an ambient occlusion map that I baked out for this and use that as a diffuse. So we can enable the diffuse map, and it should turn back to like a gray color because we don't have a diffuse map plugged in. But we can go ahead and import that now. So very quickly, I'll just come into our texture slot here, and I'll import a new texture, and I'll bring in the lighting map for my pillar, and I'm just going to call it T_pillar_D for diffuse, and we'll leave that at compression no alpha. So when we re-import the actual diffuse map for this, it'll just overwrite this. So we'll just go ahead and plug that in here, and now you'll see that it pretty much worked. It's now accepting our diffuse map and lighting it with rim light and everything, and the normals are matching up. So the shader is pretty much finished, unless we think of something else that we want to add for it. So thanks for watching this little tutorial on how to create these master materials. If you check back in a couple weeks, I should have more coming up as I continue along with this project, spanning various topics. But most of it will have to do with workflow and just how to achieve certain effects with what I'm doing. So again, this is Ryan James Smith, and if you do want to see more tutorials, I just released a advanced mesh paint material that's really worth checking out, and you can find that over at 3dmotive.com. So like I said, thanks again for watching.